we have the equation of a circle given, and it has center C, and it passes through 2 points, which are A and B. We first have to state the coordinates of the center C. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. What do? We complete the square. So let's do that first before we move on to the second part. Square complete kar lete hain. We keep the x terms together, and we keep the y terms together. And we take the constant to the other side. Okay. Now we complete the square. So यहाँ पे 4 here, so we add square of 2 and we subtract square of 2. This is 2, so we add square of 1 and we subtract square of 1. Okay, now we complete the square. It becomes x plus 2 whole squared minus 4. So the first 3 terms give us a square. Similarly, we've got 4 outside here, and then plus these 3 terms give us a square. That's going to be y minus 1 whole squared minus 1 equals 20. So now we have the standard form of the equation of the circle, which is x plus 2 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square, that equals 25. We can say the coordinates of C, which is the center of the circle, they are minus 2 and 1. We flip these signs that we have here because some standard form hoti hai, usme x minus a whole square hota hai, and we got y minus b whole square, that equals r square. If we compare these two, we get the value of a equal to minus 2 and value of b equal to 1 from there. Okay, so that's the coordinates of the center. Now the second part says it is given that the midpoint D of AB has these coordinates. Given this information, you have to find the equation of AB. AB is going to be a straight line, right? And we have to give it in the form y equals mx plus c. So a straight line की equation figure out करनी है. Now, what exactly is AB? A and B are 2 points on the circle. उसने आपको यहाँ पे बताया है. The circle passes through the points A and B. ठीक है, यानी कि A और B आपके पास circle के ऊपर कोई 2 points हैं. उनका midpoint is this point D here. Okay. Now it helps to just draw a sketch of this figure, right? A rough sketch, and that will help you think about it better. Let's say you got this circle. Okay, this is the circle that we have. It's called the circle C. There are 2 points on the circumference of the circle. Iska center to हमें पता है. Center coordinates क्या है? 2 and 1. We can mark them there. The center is right here. This is point C. Let's say this is minus 2 and 1. Now we need 2 points on the circumference, which are A and B, or unka midpoint should be D. Okay, let's take 2 points on the circumference. They could be anywhere. Let's say A is here and B is here. Inka midpoint is D. Okay, or D coordinates उसने क्या बताया हुआ है? The coordinates of D are 1.5 and 1.5. We can mark them here. Okay, so this is 1.5 and 1.5, which actually does not make a lot of sense because this is minus 2, this is 1.5, तो ये positive, but the 1.5 is bigger, तो ये right side पे होना चाहिए था. But for our calculations, हम तो सिर्फ sketch कर रहे हैं just to understand what the situation looks like. So it's not going to be that much of a problem अगर आप इसको इस तरह भी assume कर लें. But to be more accurate, what we can do is हम देख लेते हैं अच्छा ये point D कहाँ पर आना चाहिए. Okay, so let's actually think about that. This point is D. 1.5 and 1.5. I'm going to erase this first. And let's first think where the point D should be. D कहाँ पे होना चाहिए? If this is the center, if the center is minus 2 and 1, the center is minus 2 and 1, on which side of C do you think D should be? On which side of C should D be?
Right.
Right, okay. It should be on the right, but where exactly? Upwards or downwards?
Upwards a little.
It should be upwards, right? And why is that? Because you see, the x coordinates of the center, the x coordinate of the center is -2. The x coordinate of this point is 1.5. इसका मतलब 1.5 is bigger, so that's why it has to be on the right. That's the first thing. Okay, it has to be on the right side. And then the y coordinate here is 1. The y coordinate of D is 1.5, तो वो भी बड़ा है, तो it should be upwards. ठीक है, इस side पे कहीं पे होना चाहिए. We can mark that point there. But that's just to make it a bit more accurate. Even though अगर आप इसके बगैर भी कहीं भी mark कर लेते, it would not have made much of a difference because आपकी calculation से आपके results ठीक ही आते हैं in any case. But let's mark that there. Let's say this point D is somewhere here. ठीक है, point D यहाँ पर आ गया. If the point D is here, A and B should be on the circle and उनका midpoint should be D. तो आप कह सकते हैं हो के A is somewhere here and D may be B may be somewhere here. ठीक है? So this is what it looks like now. ठीक है? Almost like this. Okay, so we've got the points A and B, and the midpoint of those 2 points is this point D in the middle. Now, what exactly do we need to do now? उसने हमें कहा है, find the equation of AB, giving your answer in this form, y equals mx plus c form में आपने आंसर देना है, इसकी आपने equation निकालनी है. D के coordinates are 1.5 and 1.5. We are given that here as well. How do we think about this? AB की equation कैसे आएगी? Any idea, anyone?
We can find the gradient for CD, and then it will be perpendicular to AB, and then we can use the coordinates of D to find the equation.
Okay, why would it be perpendicular?
Because the radius makes an angle of 90 degrees with the chord in the
Is
circle.
it radius? Is this radius?
No.
You're almost right. You're almost right, but just use the wrong word there. It's not the radius, but remember, we did this property. A line coming from the center. It's not radius, but it's a line coming from the center. If it cuts a chord at the midpoint, you're looking at this property here, this one. If it cuts a chord at the center, the angle that it makes with the chord is 90 degrees, right? So since we know that D is the midpoint, since we know that D is the midpoint of the chord, if we were to draw a line from C to D, it would make a perpendicular here because these two lengths are equal. Is that clear to everyone? Is this clear
Yeah.
to everyone? Okay. So now that once we know this, the rest is pretty straightforward. What you can do is you can find the gradient of CD. Let's find that. Gradient of CD. That's y2 minus y1. D coordinates में यहाँ पे C coordinates में यहाँ पे लिख लेते हैं 1 point, sorry, that's -2 and 1. Let's find the gradient. That's 1.5 minus 1 divided by 1.5 minus -2, which is going to become +2. And that gives us 0.5 divided by 3.5, and that's 1 over 7. Gradient of CD is 1 over 7. That means the gradient of AB will be -7. That's negative reciprocal of this. Okay? Gradient of AB aa gaya. We have a point lying on the line, and that's the point D, which is 1.5 and 1.5. We can find the equation of AB using these. So let's find that. Y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1, and that gives us y minus 1.5 equals the gradient, that's -7, into x minus x1, that's 1.5, and we get y equals -7x plus 10.5 plus 1.5, and that's y equals minus 7x plus 12. That's the equation of the line AB. Okay, let's look at part C. In part C, it says find by calculation the x coordinates of A and B. So now you need the x coordinates of A and B. How can you find that? A और B coordinates कैसे figure out करें आप? Any idea? Coordinates of the points A and B. We already have the figure drawn here. That should give you a hint. उसने हमसे क्या क्या करवाया अभी? उसने हमसे अभी equation of AB निकलवाई है पहले. We already have the equation of a circle given. What can we do?
Solve it simultaneously.
Solve simultaneously. Why? Because you see, points A and B are the points of intersection of the line AB and the circle. So circle or line जहाँ पे intersect करते हैं, those are the points A and B. And how do you find the points of intersection? You find the points of intersection by solving equations simultaneously. So that's what we're going to do here. We are going to have a look at the equations. We have the equation of a circle. Equation of the circle is x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 2y minus 20. That's the equation of the circle. We have the equation of the line, which is y equals minus 7x plus 12. We need to solve them simultaneously. Okay, now, in this case, you can't really equate both of them by making y the subject, because that's going to be a bit complicated, because y b square है यहाँ पे x b square है. If you were to make then the subject in this equation, आपको square root लेना पड़ेगा, वो plus minus आ जाएगा. You don't do that here. A better idea here would be you use substitution. इसको जाके वहां पर substitute कर दें, जो हम पहले करते होते थे कि दोनों equation में से same variable को subject बना दिया, उनको equate कर दिया. That's not quite feasible here because we will have square roots otherwise in that case. So it's better to just use substitution. We say let's put y equals minus 7x plus 12 in this first equation. When we do that, we get something like this. We get minus 7x plus 12 whole squared plus, so minus 7x plus 12 whole square. This is actually y square. So we already have an x square plus y square. Y की जगह हमने minus 7x plus 12 input कर दिया, plus 4 times x minus 2 into minus 7x plus 12 minus 20 equals 0. Okay, we just input y equals minus 7x plus 12 in that equation. Now we simplify this. We get x square plus minus 7x whole square क्या होएगा? That's going to be 49x square. 2 into minus 7x into 12. That's 24 into 7. 24 into 7 क्या होता है? Anyone? 168. Can somebody confirm this? Is this correct? 168?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what we get. हम इसको simplify कर लिया. We just expanded the bracket. 12 का square is 144. And we just simplify the rest of it as well. Now let's evaluate what this turns out to be. So x square वाली terms कौन सी है? There's only one x square term, so that remains x square. And sorry, there are two x square. So we have 49x square as well. That's 50x square. Then you have minus 168 plus 4 and plus 14. What does that become? Minus 150. That's minus 150x. The constants 144 and minus 44, which is going to be 100. That's the equation you get. To simplify this, divide this by 50, you get x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. Now you can see whether you can factorize this. We can factorize this. This becomes x squared minus 2x minus x plus 2 equals 0. And that gives us x into x minus 2 minus 1 into x minus 2 equals 0. So we have x minus 1 into x minus 2 equals 0, x equals 1, and x equals 2. What did we need? We needed to find the x coordinates of A and B. We do not need the y coordinates. It was just the x coordinates. So these are the x coordinates that we were looking for. One of them is going to be 1, and the other is going to be 2. So x equals 1 and x equals 2. These are the x coordinates of the points A and B. Okay, so first of all, it's a very standard part. Find the coordinates of the center of C. We have this equation of the circle. We first convert it to the standard form by completing the square. So let's do that. We have x square minus 4x and leave some space. Then you have y square plus 10y. These are the two y terms. On the other side, we've got k. Okay, let's complete the square. We have plus 2 square minus 2 square here. We've got plus 5 square and minus 5 square here. Now when we complete the square, we get x minus 2 whole square from these terms, minus 4. Then from these terms, we get y plus 5 whole squared and minus 25. That equals k. And it becomes x minus 2 whole square plus y plus 5 whole squared equals k plus 29. Okay. Now, what are the coordinates of the center? The coordinates of the center are going to be, if we compare with the standard form was x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square equals r square. So the center, this question is C naam diya hua hai. The coordinates for that are 2 and minus 5. These are the coordinates of the center of the circle. Any issues with this? Let's look at part B. Part B में वो कहता है state the range of possible values for k. So we have the equation of a circle. It looks like this, right? What is the range of possible values of k in this? So let me write down the equation here again. Do we have any restriction for k? Can't k just be anything? What do you think? What are the possible values of this k? Any idea? What about k plus 29? ये पूरी चीज क्या होनी चाहिए? This represents r square, right? This is r square of the radius. What do you think this should be? Can it take any value, k plus 29? Any ideas?
I think k plus 9 has to be positive, and for it to be positive, k has to be more than minus 29. I think.
Okay, and why does it have to be positive?
Otherwise, it would be 0 or negative, and that would not make it r square.
Okay, so that's very good. So r squared to 0 bhi ho sakta hai. What's the problem with 0? Negative, so it makes sense. A square cannot be negative, so that makes sense. But a square can be 0. So why not 0?
Because there's no number that has a square 0.
Uh,
Amelia wrote in the
what's
chat, radius can't be 0, and I think that's correct.
radius can't be 0, right? So a square can be 0, but the other condition here is that r represents the radius. If the radius is 0, that means the circle does not even exist, right? So it has to be greater than 0 for that reason, right? It has to be greater than 0 for that reason. If it was only a square, then square to 0 भी हो सकता है. So उस केस में आप greater than equal to लिखते हैं. But यहाँ पे क्योंकि radius है, a radius has to be greater than 0. यानी कि radius का square जो है, that's also going to be greater than 0. So that means k plus 29 should be greater than 0. and that gives us k greater than minus 29. Okay, so now we've got points A, B, and C that are on the circumference of a circle. Given these 3 points, we have to find the equation of the circle. Now that sounds a bit tricky. We have 3 points on the circumference. Okay. Using this, we have to somehow find the equation of the circle. Now, what is the standard form of the equation of a circle? It's x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square equals r square. That's the standard form of the equation of a circle. Okay. And a, b are the coordinates of the center, r is the radius. So हमें वो दोनों चीजें चाहिए. We need to find the radius of the circle and also the center of the circle. How can we do those things? So अगर आपको center मिल जाए तो radius तो बहुत आसान है, right? Radius के लिए तो आप center का distance find कर सकते हो किसी भी point के साथ. That will be the radius. But how do we find the center of the circle? Any ideas about this, anyone? What do you think can we do? You could do all of that. That is going to work, although it may become slightly complicated. One way to think about this is you draw that circle and try to understand what it looks like. Let's say this is the circle. So it looks like this. This is our circle. We do not know the coordinates of the center. So the center is going to be somewhere here. We do not know the coordinates for this. However, what we do know is 3 points on the circumference, A, B, and C. Achha, now let's just try to do, try to get a rough idea of where A, B, and C should be. देखिए, A और B के x coordinates same है, 7 and 7. So what x and y coordinates do we have here? X coordinates हमारे पास एक 7 है, एक 7 है, एक 1 है. So C should be on the left, A and B should be on the right. Does that make sense? A and B should be on the right side and C should be on the left.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the center is O here. A and B should be on the right, C should be on the left. That's what we understand. And we also understand. Let's actually mark A and B first. A और B mark कर लेते हैं. Let's say A को हम यहाँ पे mark कर लें कहीं पे. This is some point A here, which is 7 and 1. Then where is B going to be? The x coordinate of B is also 7. So B is going to be directly above it and maybe somewhere here. And the coordinates of B are going to be 7 and 9. Does this make sense to everyone? B is directly above A. The reason for that is their x coordinates are the same. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Then you have the coordinates of C. अब C में क्या है देखें. The x coordinate is 1. So it's going to be on the left side somewhere. However, we know that the y coordinate is 9. So it has to be at the same level as B. B के level पे होएगा ये. That's your point C, and the coordinates of C are 1 and 9. Now you can actually guess from the figure, but we're going to have a look at it formally, properly. Let's join these points. A, B, and B, C. What exactly does it look like? You've got this line here. It's a vertical line. To draw that again to make it look better. Change position of B a bit. Or in fact, A. So A is directly below B. That's the point A. B and C are at the same level. What do you think is the angle between them? What's the angle at B? B के ऊपर क्या angle बन रहा
90 degrees.
90
है?
degree.
Why is that? The reason is we have got a vertical line. This line is vertical, right? X coordinate same है. This line is horizontal. This line is horizontal because the y coordinates are same. It's 90 degrees here, and the points lie on the circumference. That necessarily means the line AC here is going to be the diameter. The line AC has to be the diameter. Why is that? Why does it have to be the diameter? It has to pass through O. Why would that be? Why does it have to pass through O?
So because angle in a semicircle forms 90 degrees and the triangle
Angle
in
in
a
a
semicircle.
semicircle makes 90 degrees, right? So angle made by a diameter on the circumference is 90. If it's not a diameter, you cannot have another line. You cannot not have another chord in a circle. कोई भी और chord आप बनाओगे, it cannot make a 90 degrees on the circumference, right? Only a diameter can make a 90 degrees on the circumference. We know that property, right? We know that property from O levels. Angle made by a diameter on the circumference, angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees. The converse of this is also true. अगर आपका semicircle नहीं है, diameter नहीं है, the angle cannot be 90. So that necessarily means AC is the diameter. AC is the diameter. So just by sketching that and understanding what the situation looks like, that C and B are at the same level, they are horizontal. B and A are the line joining B and A is vertical. You have a 90 degrees there. That necessarily means that AC is a diameter. AC is diameter. And once you know that, you can find the coordinates of the center by just finding the midpoint. So center O is actually the midpoint of AC. आप AC का midpoint निकाल लोगे, you will get the coordinates of the center. So you see, if you are able to figure this out, the process becomes very quick. 1 plus 7 over 2 and 9 plus 1 over 2. The center's coordinates turn out to be 4 and 5. So you don't have to solve simultaneous quadratic equations. वो सब कुछ आपको नहीं करना पड़ा. आपके पास center के coordinates आ गए. Once you have the coordinates of the center, आपको सिर्फ क्या करना है, you find the radius. Radius कैसे निकालोगे? Just use the distance formula. You can find OA, OB, OC, whatever you want. कोई भी निकाल लें, and that will give you the radius. So let's say OA कर लेते हैं. That's going to be 7 minus 4 whole square plus 1 minus 5 whole square. That's going to be 3 square plus 4 square. Radius is going to be 5. You've got the radius. We've got the center. You've got both of those things. You can write down the equation of the circle now. The equation of the circle is going to be x minus 4 whole square plus y minus 5 whole square equals 5 squared. The second part, you can do that yourself. Find the equation of the tangent at B. Tangent at B is going to be perpendicular to the radius. Radius OB का gradient find कर लें. Negative reciprocal of that is going to be gradient of that tangent, and then you can find the equation using that gradient and the point B. So that's relatively straightforward, but that's what we had to do in the first part. Okay. Now let's look at the second part. सेकंड पार्ट में वो क्या कहता है, फाइंड द पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरसेक्शन ऑफ द टेंजेंट्स टू द सर्कल at A and B. So what you want to do is you want to find the equation of those tangents. The equation आ जाएगी, उनको simultaneously solve कर लेंगे, उनका point of intersection आ जाएगा. So let's try to understand the situation better. इसमें हमारे पास do we have the center of the circle? We can actually find that. Yeah, so we can actually find the center of the circle and the radius. That might help. उसके लिए हम क्या करते हैं, we convert it to standard form. Standard form के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ता है, square complete करना पड़ता है. ठीक है, so let's complete the square. X square minus 4x plus 2 का square minus 2 का square. Similarly for y, we've got y square plus 6y. 6 का half is 3, so 3 का square minus 3 का square. और ये जो constant था 77, उसको हम दूसरी साइड पर ले गए. ठीक है, हमने x टर्म्स को इकट्ठा लिखा, उनका स्क्वायर कंप्लीट कर लिया, y टर्म्स का स्क्वायर कंप्लीट कर लिया. For x we get x minus 2 whole square minus 4 outside from this. From these three terms we get y plus 3 whole square, and you've got minus 9 outside. That equals 77. So the equation of the circle therefore becomes x minus 2 whole square plus y plus 3 whole square equals 90. Is this clear to everyone? Yeah, clear?
Yes, sir.
So we have the center. Center is 2 and minus 3, and the radius is square root of 90. ठीक है, ये दूसरी चीजें हमारे पास आ गई. Now what you can do is we can try to understand what the circle looks like. ठीक है, so it's basically going to be a situation like this, that you have a circle of this form. This is the circle. The center of the circle is at 2 minus 3, यानी x axis के नीचे होएगा ये. Center of the circle is going to be below the x axis and towards the right of it, I think. Right के ऊपर and below the x axis. So it may be something like this, right? वो x-intercepts भी आ रहे हैं उसके, in fact. They are at minus 7 and 11. So let's say it looks something like this. आपने roughly draw कर लिया. Doesn't really matter. आपने सिर्फ समझने के लिए किया है. So you've got the center here somewhere. Center's coordinates are 2 minus 3. You've got the x-intercepts. One is at minus 7 and the other is at 11. ठीक है. अच्छा, अब आपको क्या करना है, अब आपको इन पॉइंट्स A और B के ऊपर जो टेंजेंट्स है उनकी इक्वेशंस फिगर आउट करनी है. हाउ डू यू फाइंड द इक्वेशंस ऑफ दीज टेंजेंट्स? वीव गॉट द सेंटर यहाँ पर है. हाउ कैन यू फाइंड द इक्वेशन ऑफ टेंजेंट्स? एनी आइडिया? In fact, let me just get rid of these axes. थोड़ा आसान हो जाएगा, क्लटर हो रहा है बहुत ज़्यादा. Just write down the coordinates there. So coordinates मेरे पास क्या है, minus 7 and 0. Coordinates लिख देते हैं, minus 7 0 and this is 11 0. This is what I have. ठीक है, I have the center and this in the middle of the circle and I have those 2 points. How do I find the equations of tangents at A and B? Yes, exactly. So we have the point already. A point तो हमारे पास already है. ठीक है, तो point है. The only thing that we need is the gradient of this tangent. So tangent at A find कर लेते हैं पहले. Tangent at A के हमारे पास कैसे आ जाएगा? We would say we have the point already. All we need to do is we need to find the gradient of the tangent. So gradient of AC अगर हम निकाल लें, gradient of AC, what is that going to be? Minus 3 minus 0, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, 2 minus minus 7, which is 2 plus 7. This gives us minus 3 over 9, which is minus 1 over 3. ये हमारे पास gradient of AC आ गया. What about the gradient of the tangent? नाउ वो इसका नेगेटिव रेसिप्रोकल है। ग्रेडियंट ऑफ टेंजेंट एट ए, क्योंकि टेंजेंट रेडियस के परपेंडिकुलर होता है, उसका रेडियस क्या हो जाएगा, इसका नेगेटिव रेसिप्रोकल -1/3 का नेगेटिव रेसिप्रोकल। यू कैन सी व्हाट दैट टर्न्स आउट टू बी, दैट्स 3। सो यू गॉट द ग्रेडियंट, ग्रेडियंट आपके पास 3 आ गया। ठीक है, ये आपके टेंजेंट का ग्रेडियंट हो गया। यू गॉट पॉइंट, पॉइंट आपके पास ऑलरेडी है, द पॉइंट ए इज -7, 0। You can write down the equation of the circle, which is y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Y minus 0 is equal to m, which is 3, into x minus minus 7, which is x plus 7. So the equation is y equals 3x plus 21. ये आपके पास a के ऊपर टेंजेंट की इक्वेशन आ गई। ठीक है, this is the tangent at a. You do exactly the same thing for tangent at b, right? आप क्या करो, ग्रेडियंट निकाल लो bc का, gradient of bc, again y2 minus y1 minus 3 minus 0 over x2 minus x1, which is 2 minus 11. What do you get from this? You get -3 over -9, which is 1 over 3. तो इसका आपके पास gradient of tangent क्या आ जाएगा? Gradient of tangent at b, that is just going to be negative reciprocal of this, which is -3. तो equation उसकी क्या बन गई फिर? Y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. You know the point already. The point B has coordinates 11 and 0. ठीक है, आपने सिर्फ वैल्यूज इनपुट करनी है इसके अंदर। y minus 0 equals -3 into x minus 11, and that gives you y equals -3x plus 33. This is the equation of the tangent at the point B. ये आपके पास B के ऊपर टेंजेंट की इक्वेशन आ गई। ठीक है, दोनों टेंजेंट्स आपने निकाल लिए। Once you have both those equations, just solve them simultaneously. इन दोनों equations को simultaneously solve कर लें, you will get the coordinates of the point of intersection.